an investment example. A person has $70,000 that they want to invest. They have been advised to split it into several types of investments. Bonds, 8.5% annual return. Certificate of deposit, 5%. Treasury bills, 6.5%. Stock, 13%. The investments will be evaluated after 1 year. Each investment alternative has different risk. The advisor has suggested the following rules. No more than 20% of the total should be in bonds. Amount in CDs, which is certificate of deposit, should not exceed the amount invested in the other 3. At least 30% of the investment should be in treasury bills and CDs. To be safe, more should be invested in CDs and treasury bills than in bonds and stocks by a ratio of at least 1.2 to 1. The person wants to invest the entire $70,000. Okay, so our decision variables, X1, 2, 3, and 4, the amount invested in each thing, bonds, CDs, treasury bills, stocks. Okay, using the percents from above, the return, we change 8.5% to 0.085, 5% is 0.05, 6.5% is 0.065, and 13% is 0.13. Okay, and now our constraint sentences. Number 1, no more than 20% of the total should be in bonds. Okay, 20% of the total investment is 20% of the $70,000 being invested. So we multiply 0.20 times 70,000 equals 14,000. No more than means that X1 bonds should be less than or equal to 14,000. The amount invested in CDs, okay, CDs is X2, should not exceed less than or equal to the amount invested in the other 3. Well, the other 3 is X1 plus X3 plus X4. Okay, CDs is X2. Now, using algebra, we're going to subtract X1, subtract X3, subtract X4 on both sides of that less than symbol, which will make them negative on the left side. And when you subtract everything on the right side, we have 0. Number 3, at least 30% should be in treasury bills and CDs. Okay, well, treasury bills is X3 and CDs is X2. So X2 plus X3 is the total for CDs and T-bills, treasury bills. At least means greater than or equal to. 30% of the investment is 30% of the 70,000 we're investing. So multiply 0.30 times the 70,000 to get 30% of 70,000 equals 21,000. Okay. Number 4, to be safe, the person more should be invested in CDs and treasury bills. Okay, CDs and treasury bills are X2 plus X3. Bonds and stocks are X1 plus X4. A ratio means a fraction. So X2 plus X3 represents CDs plus treasury bills. On the bottom, bonds and stocks are X1 plus X4. Ratio means the fraction between them. At least means greater than or equal to. 1.2 to 1 means the fraction 1.2 over 1. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is multiply this X1 plus X4 on the left and the right. Okay, that makes it cancel on the left side. So on the right side, we're going to have this 1.2 times this X1 plus X4. Okay, and divided by 1 is itself. Okay, now what we're going to do is distribute this 1.2 on the right side to both the terms. Now what we're going to do is subtract the 1.2x1 on both sides, subtract 1.2x4 on both sides. That'll give us 0 in this right side, and that will make them negative on the left side with the x2 plus x3 that were already there. Our last constraint, the person wants to invest the entire $70,000. The entire investment is how much is invested in 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Entire $70,000 means exactly equal to. Okay, and we have our constraint that amount invested has to be more than 0, greater than or equal to 0. Okay, now let's go to our spreadsheet. Okay, and all of those are listed there. Okay, our X1 through X4 are those blank cells. Our return is going to go in B12. Okay, here's our return equation. Equals 0.085 times B7 is X1 plus 0.05 times B8 represents X2 plus 0.065 times B9 is X3 plus 0.13 times B10 is X4. Okay, instead of labeling it words, because all those words were pretty long, I'm just labeling these constraints number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to match 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here in A1. Okay, X1 equals B7, and X1 needs to be less than or equal to 14,000. Number 2 equals X2 is B8 minus X1 minus X3 minus X4. Okay, that's less than or equal to 0. Constraint number 3 equals X2 plus X3. That's more than 21,000. Okay, here let's be very careful on number 4. Always be careful, but especially on number 4. Equals X2 plus X3 minus 1.2 times X1 minus 1.2 times X4. Okay, greater than or equal to 0. And the last one is the 4 of them added together, so equals X1 plus X2 plus X3 plus X4. That needs to be equal to 70,000. Okay, now we need to be careful with our symbols this time. They're usually the same, but now we have different symbols. Okay, I've got less, less, greater, greater, and then equals. Okay, so we're going to click our data solver, our objective B12, maximize return. Return means how much profit you bring in. Our variable cells are the decision variables. Our constraints. Okay. Now, B1 and 2 are less than C1 and 2. Okay, the first two were less than. B1, B2 were less than. B3 and B4 were greater than C3, C4. Okay, but B5 needs to be exactly equal to the 70,000. Add our decision variables, greater than or equal to 0. Now, since these are dollars, they don't have to be whole. I mean, she could invest $100.27. It doesn't have to be whole numbers. So click OK. And we have our solution. So it looks like the first two things are not going to be invested in at all. Okay, and X3 and X4 tell us how much she's going to invest in treasury bills and stocks. Okay, now don't worry about the negative up here, okay, because that's B8 minus 7 minus 9 minus 10. Okay, what needs to be positive, whoops, cancel. What needs to be positive is how much she's investing in here. Okay, and how much, this is the return, how much she'll make. Or he, the person. Okay, and that is this lesson, the end of this lesson.